Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and I'd like to warmly welcome you to the future of automation industry. My name is Emma, and I will be your host for this evening. And I'd also like to say a big hello to those of you joining us via our live stream as well. It gives us immense pleasure to welcome you to this one-of-a-kind hybrid event, Beyond Conventional. I'd like to just run you through the flow for this evening, and together we will be going through Netix Nova's partner program launch. We'll also celebrate the partnership between ODS Global and Johnson Controls, and conclude by presenting TechnoWare's seamless integration with smart cities and its newly launched MyCloud platform. To get the proceedings underway for us this evening, I'd like to welcome up Sanjeev Bhatia, Chairman of SB Group International.
Thank you, Emma. A very good evening to all of you. I hope you all are fine. Your loved ones, your family, all are safe and healthy. I want to thank you, and this thank you comes from the bottom of my heart. The reason I say that is because I feel blessed. I feel blessed to be here. I feel blessed because this is my second innings. This is my second innings because a lot has happened in the last 4 years. And whatever has happened in the last 4 years has made my beliefs even stronger. I've always believed in three things in life, right from a very young age. Love, love for life, love for people, love for the things I do, doing the right things, being pious, progress, improve each day. Every single day should be better than yesterday. That's progress for me. And the third principle I have is be fearless, be limitless. A lot of successful people say that you got to be thinking out of the box. What I've realized is I actually don't have a box. I have no boundaries, and which does not mean just acting senseless. It means to think unlimited. Psychologists say that a human is most creative up to a certain age. Can you guess what that age is? Anyone? You shouldn't be saying that. The age of 7. After that, the rational thinking comes in. We are the most creative till the age of 7. After that, the doubts start coming in. After that, the fears start coming in. All my life, I've been positive, eternally positive. Everything I do, I try to do it happily. For me, work is worship. This is a mantra I always followed. Something which was inbuilt, something probably it was there in my upbringing, something which I sincerely believed in. I actually started working at a very early age because my parents had to go back to India from Abu Dhabi, and I had to fetch for myself. At the age of 14, my first job was sales, and I was selling pens. And in 21 days, I broke the record of 6 months target. And every day, an enthusiastic boy would go back to his employer and say, I did this, I did that. And he was surprised, and actually he was shocked. And on the 21st day, he tells me, you know what, we agreed either it's commissions or salary. I said, no, you said both. He said, no. You know what, I just dropped it, and I left. Because for me, I could not bear injustice. Then I worked for a company, a tiles company. It was a very big company, very successful. And I thought, wow, Now I'm going to break all the records. And you know what happened? For 3 months, I did not even do one sale. Because I was given an assignment to sell to universities and colleges. It's only later I understood that that was a vertical missing. His manager had given him some KPIs and he gave it to me. Because every time I would go back and say, I don't have a sale, he said, no problem, don't worry. So, but there's one incident I would like to highlight. I went to one of the universities, to one of the popular universities, and I went to a dean. And I said, sir, I have these tiles. He said, son, we don't have budgets for these things. I said, no problem. And I left because I didn't expect anything else from him. I knew that this would be the answer. But while I was at the door, he told me, son, wait. I have something to say. You will become something in life. Remember this. I was surprised with his comment. I didn't understand at that point of time. But today when I look back, I understand what he meant. He saw my attitude. I had accepted rejection with grace. And I always say that life is 10% of what happens to you, 90% is your attitude. Thereon, I did a lot of jobs. I worked in the stock market. I understood, working in the stock market, I understood the corporate world. I started to read audit reports. I started to read P&L because we had to read stocks to understand the stocks. And that point of time, I understood what is the stock market and what is technical analysis and what is the corporate world. And I started to dream at that point of time that one day I will have my own business. And later on, I did a lot of things. I worked for an event management company. I did a lot of shows. My inner passion was always movies. And a lot of people know the Bollywood film industry. And there's a saying that what you wish for, you get. And I ended up getting an assignment for one of the biggest movies of India that times. And that assignment was to do in-film branding for a movie called Ishq, which was very big, which is the highest budget movie of that times, and a very successful director. And I was given this assignment to do in-film branding for a huge set in 9 days, 7 or 9 days, and I did it. I brought in 2 million dirhams equivalent of goods into that set. Even if you go on and watch this movie, Ishq, you will see that set where the famous toothpaste scene is there between Juhi Chawla and Ajay Devgan. At a very early stage, I made a mark. Again, they were struggling with some stories for Mr. Bachchan. I went up to my director and said, I have a story. And actually, with a pleasant surprise, the next day, they loved the story, and it reached to everybody. And I thought, I have arrived, okay? I am the next thing. I have my will, I have my wish, and I'm here. And you know what I always say? If you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans. Things changed, movie got delayed. I had to fetch for myself. I started in-film branding company. I did one more movie, one took up 4. I got Badshah. But things were very inconsistent. The income was not regular. So I had to fetch for myself. I had to get a steady job. And I finally landed up coming back to Dubai. And I always thought that, no, I don't want to stay. I'm going to go back in 2 years. And here I am. Those 2 years have not got over. So going further, again, whatever I did it with a lot of passion. Wherever I worked, worked with a lot of passion. Whichever job I did, I left with a mark. I did some huge projects. I got some huge business. I made a lot of profit for the company. My last assignment as an employee was with Honeywell. I changed a lot of positions. I was successful in many positions. And finally, I was in the security division. And while working for the security division, I came across this opportunity. I noticed an opportunity which was I realized that in life safety, emergency lighting was a monopoly with one company with 3 brands. And there I started searching for a company. I reached out to a few companies. I was always ethically conscious. I went in my holidays, went to a company, second company. I went to Innotech in Germany, met them. And finally, I landed up with Technoware. And that was a very different journey. Brought Technoware to Dubai. I did things differently. I opened a system integration arm. I made sure that the agency went into that. Management was in my hands and appointed a lot of channel partners and brought in Jamal Majid, NAFCO, and the beginning was not easy. We won a lot of LOIs, but a lot of rejections, of course, because the big boys never let you come up because they know you can be a threat, which is not a wrong thing to do from them, but we kept trying. And eventually, fortune favors the brave, we got the Dubai Metro project. And from there on, we didn't stop. Projects after projects, some great projects, projects on the Palm, the Sofitel, the Anantara, the Royal Amwaj, a lot of projects on Marina, later on La Mer, La Pearl, the Haptur city. We went out, we got projects in Qatar, in Saudi, the Mecca Metro. What was most important was the right partners, always, the right people. Doing your things in the right way. And people noticed that. Even in spite of having their own company as an agent, we played fair, absolutely fair. I had a lot of instances where Mr. Sufyan from Jamal Majid would call and say, Sanjeev, Oriental Dynamic Solutions is in that job. I said, sir, don't worry about that. They don't. I would call them and say, please stay away. Sir, please go all out. And you can't fool anybody. You've got to be true to yourself. You've got to be true to your people. So those relationships I enjoy till today. The going was very strong. We won Mecca Metro. We did Muscat Airport. And we had, as a group, reached 95 to 100 million dirhams in revenue, 25 million dirhams of orders under execution, 40 million dirhams of projects in the pipeline. It was going very well. And we were heading towards our next milestone, $500 million, $1 billion. And again, as I say, you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans. The local sponsor of my local business, the system integration business, as most of you understand, that in this part of the world, you need sponsors, and it depends on the business. Sometimes you need 100% sponsors, who had an agreement with me that he had nothing to do with the shares, or nothing to do with the profit and loss of the company. He had nothing to do with what we do with the company. He had his fixed income. And he had not even invested a single dime. Became greedy, came in, took over the company. Hell broke loose. You can imagine the complications. I am doing the projects, but they are not in my hands. I am supposed to get money. I have liabilities to the bank, but I cannot take the money. He's taking all the money. And then what? He could not manage the business. The project started to, forget about the projects in pipeline. The projects under execution were in problems. And the whole world had fallen apart. At that point of time, I always had one question in my mind. Why did this happen? What did I do wrong? And every time I had the same answer, I have not done anything wrong. I have really not done anything wrong. I have always had good intentions towards people. I've always worked hard. I've worked sincerely. Why did this happen? Then goes back, I went back to the basics, is that I trust in the Almighty. I trust in justice. If there is any justice in the world, everything will be fine. So one day at a time, we started going back. Of course, the company had crashed. The people were not getting salaries. And I went back to, I opened a new company. I called those people. I could afford only 10 people. And these 10 people came and joined me. And they worked from my home for 6 months. And here we are, coming back again, thanks to those 10 people. And thanks to my sister companies where everybody stood by me like a rock. So, when we came back, I started to clear all my issues. There were 28 check cases. For a person who had never had one check bounce, had 28 check bounces because, again, they were not in my hands. And for a person who always tried to do things right, police station was a very bad thing, was always going to the police station. I was also arrested for one of the two or three of the checks because these people knew that I would be at an intersex show. They sent the CID there. The CID, when they took me, they were like, that's it. Again, there's a very important point I would like to tell you. Doing things right. There was a stage just before that where my lawyer said to me, this bank, default, don't worry about it. I had one apartment. I said, don't. I said, no, I will not do anything wrong. I will do the right thing. And thank God for that thought. If I had not done what my heart told me, I would have been inside bar because when I sold that apartment, I cleared this bank. And later on, when these 3 checks were there, they were very small. I was only inside for 40 hours and I was out, back again. I've seen a lot. This life has been like a movie for me. But what I've learned from this is that what doesn't break you only makes you stronger. The day they came over to my company, I straight away went to the bank and I told them, this has happened. And the bankers first were shocked, but they stood by me. Again, what do I learn from this? I learned a lot myself. I used to always be in a hurry. There's a lot to achieve, there's a lot to do. And there I was in 2017. I couldn't do anything. So I've learned to slow down. I've learned to accept that it's okay sometimes not to be in a hurry. I've learned the power of truth. I've learned even when you fall, you should get up. I've learned the power of your mind. If your mind is under control, it's your best friend. If it's not, it's your worst enemy. And I've learned to breathe. I've learned to enjoy my freedom. And I appreciate every moment of my life. And I'm eternally thankful to each one of you for being here, part of this journey. I call my company now the YYYE company, all my companies. The last word of all our values are there. Integrity, synergy, agility, and balance. I would like to call somebody who had seen me on the first day of the takeover. He was my banker, Mr. Amandeep, who's here in front of me, to just share that experiences and tell what you think from your point of view.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Amandeep Singh, and I am a corporate banker. I was associated with Rag Bank when this incident happened. Even before this happened, I was already in touch with him. We were having regular meetings. We were one of the largest bankers for the group, and everything was happy. We wanted more business. But then, whenever I used to meet him, I used to always see a very positive attitude towards business, towards life. And whenever I wanted to have some kind of a shot of energy, I used to go and meet him. And I used to feel very active. So when this happened, he immediately called us and said that this is what has happened. And it was very easy for somebody to not do this and avoid facing a banker. But we were shocked that, okay, somebody is coming up front and telling that this is what has happened with us. So we always knew what a gentleman he is and what values he has believed in. And that brought the confidence for every bank here available that, okay, we know that, Mr. Bhatia is always here. We went and saw, it's a very funny incident. We went and met the new gentleman. He said, okay, let's follow the game. And he wants to be the owner of the company and let's go and see him. So I told him, you have this much liability to pay. You are now the owner of the company, right? So then, without realizing what he's doing, he opened the drawer. He said, okay, I have checks of 1.8 million dirhams. Can you discount it? I said, why not? Come, give it. Let me help you out. And he didn't realize because his finance manager was not there. I took it back, we discounted, cleared our dues of 1.8 million dirhams. Next day when he realizes, he calls me back, can you bring back that envelope for me, brother? I said, why? He said, oh, I did a mistake. There were some wrong checks. And eventually, the story happened in that way, and we recovered a lot of this thing. And even without having that revenue, Mr. Bhatia always stood by and made sure that we never had to actually follow up for everything. He had his personal assets, whatever, and he was fully invested. And whenever I used to meet him during that journey, where suddenly ODS has seen a peak, as he mentioned, revenue of more than 100 million dirhams, and they had a very great team. Whenever we used to visit his office, the energy in the team itself shows that their belief in the leader. And so I have never seen him during that time being bogged down by any thing which is happening around him. He always showed his positive attitude, and that's what is very inspiring. And I think you are a great example for anybody who is an entrepreneur who is going through a journey. I'm sure people must have seen bad times, but we always hear all these motivational quotes on Instagram these days, everything. But when I saw this and when I went through this journey with him, and so I have always enjoyed the kind of positive energy he has brought to the group. And here we are standing today. As he said, the second innings is actually much better. It's a very stronger comeback and a strong brand which he has built. And I'm very happy to be associated again with him.
Thank you, Amandeep. I
Sir,
didn't
thank you
expect so
so
many
much.
words, but thank you so much.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Amandeep. Thank you. We're meeting after a long time. Also, I would like to tell you that I won the criminal case. I won against the Emirati in the Supreme Court of Dubai. And that's what brings, that says a lot about the law of the land. The justice out here Dubai is a fair place, and I love Dubai for that. So, if I had not fought back, if I had ran away, a lot of people told me, run away. I said, no, I've not done anything, and I'm not going to run away. Either I would have been away somewhere and a lot of people talking, people always talk, and I would be thinking, why did this happen to me? Why did this happen to me? Or if I was not fighting back, I would be behind bars till today because there was 16 to 20 million dirhams of liabilities. But, as I said, there's a lot of power in truth. There's a lot of power in falling down and getting up. Because once you do that, after that, there is a lot of rise. So thank you very much, everybody, for being part of this journey. I would like to call upon Emma, and I'll come back again to introduce the program. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Sanjeev, for that wonderfully inspiring talk there. I think you're going to have to think about who's going to play you in a movie, aren't you? It sounds wonderful. So moving on, Netix Controls is one of the leading companies in digital transformation of energy management and automation in homes, buildings, data centers, infrastructure development. They create seamlessly connected technologies that reshape industries, transform cities, and enrich lives. Netix's connected devices and software enable better, faster, and more reliable management of buildings, reducing energy consumption and costs up to 28%, and ensuring that you control up to 84% of the building's energy consumption. With the help of Niagara Framework and Tridium, Netix is making a vision come true to develop a connected world free of legacy closed systems. And I'm very thrilled to introduce our next speaker, Mr. Paul Price. Paul is the Global Business Development Director of Tridium, with global responsibility for technology partnerships and end-user relationships. He's the leading figure in the world of integrated building controls, with over 35 years' experience in the industry through entrepreneurial startups and C-level management of SMEs and enterprises. I'd like you to help me welcoming Paul up to the stage, please.
That'll be fine, thank you. Well, I sound pretty impressive. I like that introduction, Emma. Thank you very much indeed. If I'm that good, I can't wait to hear me. Thank you, everyone, for your warm welcome. I really appreciate it. And from these beautiful surroundings here at the Burj Khalifa in Dubai, and to all those people who are in the room and who are watching online, I want to say a very warm welcome and a thank you for this honour and this privilege of talking to you tonight. And thank you, Sanjeev, for this privilege of talking to you and your VIP guests here this evening. So, as Emma says, I'm Paul Price, Global Business Development Director for Tridium. We are the world leader in software for building management systems and integration. Let's move that on. Here we go. With offices in Richmond, Virginia, in Beijing, in Dubai, and in London, UK. We've got a network of over 30,000 partners around the world, with businesses, 5,500 of them spread across 50 countries worldwide. We're a part of Honeywell International, which is a $40 billion organization with interests in materials, in process, in buildings, aerospace, and very, very much more. Now, we don't really have an awful lot of time to talk about Niagara tonight, but if you want to grab a phone or a screen grab and just take that as a definition, that'll be quite a handy place to start. I will put my contact details up at the end in case anybody wants to get hold of me to talk specifically about Niagara. But it's the beating heart of everything that Netix are doing in terms of their product range, and also part of the Novus program too. So feel free just to grab that, and I'll certainly be happy to talk to you a little later on. Now, there is a massive misunderstanding about the world in which we inhabit as far as buildings are concerned. This beautiful skyscraper that we're in right now is known worldwide. It's the tallest man-made structure in the world, and it's got a reputation for being a modern smart building. It's got millions of active points, both reading and writing and actuating, sensing and controlling every aspect of building operation and performance, delivering world-class standards of occupant well-being, of safety and energy efficiency. But how representative of the world's building stock is the building that we're standing in today? Well, not at all. The vast majority of the world's buildings are decades or centuries old, with crumbling and archaic infrastructure, and they're poorly maintained systems and services. The Burj is a world standard in buildings, but it's not the standard of most buildings in the world. Moreover, we look towards smart city developments, NEOM in Saudi Arabia, or some right in here in Dubai. But nearly all the cities around the world are dumb cities. They're not connected, there's no smart at all. Smart cities are the exception, they're not the rule. And that represents a significant and a sizable opportunity for those solutions providers willing to rise to the challenge and create new smart cities from our dumb city stock. It's not a technology gap, because the technology necessary for making cities smart from dumb cities has been around for a long time. It's a gap of overcoming bureaucracy, of financing, and of political will. But we live in unprecedented times. Governments around the world and businesses are grappling with huge issues simultaneously. Global warming, political and economic instability, an aging and a growing population, unemployment, changes in the media, the arts, logistics, lifestyle, challenges from global hyperscale businesses. The list goes on. And some of the biggest issues are, of course, related to the pandemic. Without doubt, it's the toughest set of problems that the world has had to face in a generation or more, but not all of them are. So how can we play our role in being part of the answer? What can we do, if anything, as business leaders to move the economy and the society further along? Now, I'm a technologist, so I've spent my entire career using and gaining technology to take advantage and to advance causes inside of our industry and the issues around them. But you know what? We've got to step back from technology and see the bigger picture. I spend my time with C-suite execs in global enterprises and try to identify the trends that will shape buildings going forward. And talking tech is easy and it's impressive. But most execs have absolutely no interest whatsoever in the how of what we do. We're the ones desperate to share our exciting and innovating and revolutionary product ideas. What they want to hear about is the why. They're only interested in the outcomes, what the tech can deliver for them, their employees, their buildings, and their businesses. It is, as I'm sure you've all realized already, the problem of the electric drill. This is the DeWalt DCD 701 F2 cordless drill. Other cordless drills are available, obviously. But it's rated as one of the best cordless drills in 2021 on a number of consumer websites. It's got, and let me list this out, it's got a 1500 RPM brushless motor with 2 speed settings, 16 different clutch settings. It comes with 2 12-volt lithium-ion batteries capable of being recharged in 55 minutes. It's got an LED work light. It's got a 3-year warranty. The list just goes on and on and on. It's a truly impressive piece of kit. But here's the problem. The guy who buys the DeWalt DCD 701 F2 cordless drill, he doesn't actually want the DeWalt DCD 701 F2 cordless drill, or any other drill for that matter. What he actually needs is a hole. He wanted a hole, not a drill. He's only bought the drill to get the hole. If someone could come up with an alternative way of delivering holes to customers that didn't involve buying a drill, customers would certainly listen to the story. And who knows, maybe we might end up with holes as a service, as a business opportunity. So what's the takeaway here? Well, we need to talk about outcomes, not techniques. We need to have conversations around insights and objectives, not technology and systems. Of course, there's always a time to talk specification. We need to meet technical and legislative benchmarks as well as delivering successful outcomes. But remember, most customers have precious little interest in how you drill, or how good or how sleek or sophisticated your drill is. They just need the hole. So, what are the outcomes that customers are identifying? What are the itches that we need to scratch? What issues resonate and chime with businesses and buildings, estates, portfolios, and campuses to manage? I've only got a few more minutes, so here's a few of the biggest ticket items that I discuss with people around the world. Now, as Emma so very politely said, I've been in this industry for nearly 40 years. Thank you for that, Emma. Although I'm sure you'll agree, I don't look like it. And for most of that time, there's been a rightful emphasis on reducing energy in buildings. Because not only does that revenue save revenue dollars, it also impacts the world for good by reducing demand for energy sources. It's been the driving force, sometimes even to justify energy management solutions in the first place. And the arguments of saving 5, 10, 20% of energy usage, they're just as powerful today as they've always been. But what drives that motivation? Well, those are problems for the operations officer, for the financial controller, for the FM manager. They're the key decision makers in that process, and they're challenged to drive energy costs down. And so they've also therefore got the primary responsibility to make it happen. But there's been a sea change in the agenda over the last few years. Corporations around the world, they've been signing up to government-mandated targets for sustainability and for carbon savings. And by targeting carbon contribution in businesses through supply chains, travel to work programs, packaging, and in our buildings. Businesses want to be first-class carbon citizens. Now, the responsibility for that problem lies on the desk of the CEO. He's the one that's got to demonstrate to shareholders that the business is indeed a really good carbon citizen. Now, what we need to do is to change the language and the methods of communication, because that's vital if we're to get a green message across to a different audience. Now, the CEO will be delighted to be able to report decreases in energy usage, because that increases shareholder value and therefore probably secures his job. But that's not his major motivation. It's carbon. And as an industry, we need to understand there's a subtle change going on and find new ways to adopt and to communicate this new paradigm. Now, many multinational conglomerates and international hyperscale businesses, especially the tech-related ones, they've got very deep pockets and they've got massive cash reserves. And they rarely think about doing anything other than spending their own money. They've got access to their own funds. They spend some of that cash on loan interest. Well, that's just a great way to burn shareholder value, and they're not going to do that. So cheap money is the best money, and they've got a lot of it. So CapEx projects are their norm, and paying up front for things is what's accepted. Smaller scale businesses, however, even national ones or international ones, they've rarely got bank accounts bulging with cash. They might have a massive top line in revenue, and they might drive as much value as they can through the business, but they operate on relatively lower margins. And the result is that CapEx is a less attractive option. So they'll borrow and they'll pay interest from revenue as a cost of the business and smooth that investment over a long period of time. Our industry is still predicated on that sort of one-off, lump sum basis, with projects funded by the client accessing the finance to complete the task. So many projects get stuck in that sort of CapEx backwater, with companies unable to borrow or unable to justify the borrowing for capital projects. They get pushed into that sort of too hard category. What we're seeing now is a major breakthrough is where suppliers and technologies emerge that are financed out of cash flow. It's the world of energy financing. That's like an ESCO-style model. In the world of software, it's a software as a service, a SaaS-style model. And customers, they don't get motivated by internally financed projects. They don't have to borrow money. The suppliers create the mechanism for the solutions to be provided, but almost free of charge, the customer paying a recurring service fee for the privilege of using the solution. Of course, a SaaS model is more than just a financing. But what we need to do is to find a new vocabulary to communicate the benefits of cash flow costing. That's going to be vital in order to engage the hearts and the minds and the wallets of customers going forward. There is a rush to cigars as cloud-based systems and solutions flood the building controls market. But in that rush to throw out all the equipment from buildings and connect everything remotely to distant servers, something has been forgotten. Customers own buildings, premises. Quite apart from the fact that some clients need the connectivity and data on their own private networks or inside certain geographical locations, things like data analytics, machine learning, AI, digital twins, and predictive CAFM, which all have a significant impact positively if they're offered in the right situation. They're often, but not always, linked to computation inside of a particular building or on a particular site. Data traffic running to and from cloud-based providers just adds latency, unnecessary IT complexity, cybersecurity risk, and duplicate offsite storage and computation. Cloud has got its place, but there's no doubt that there's a mix of on-prem and off-site architecture that's needed to get the best outcome for most customers in most situations. Now, the pandemic has shaped and it's accelerated thinking in remote working and how offices are to be used in the future. Companies with on-premise stuff have had to quickly maneuver there to accommodate a workforce that was sent home in early 2020 and, for the most part, hasn't really returned from the office yet. Management's been completely stunned, I think, that productivity has remained high during the pandemic. Employees have continued to work hard from home, even when the boss isn't breathing down their neck in the office. Morale, for the most part, has gone up. Many employees are happier to work from home hard, even and sort of improve their work-life balance. And it's a more flexible way of getting the job done, and that seems to be a better way for some people. Travel time's down. There are less people on buses, in cars, on trains, on aeroplanes. And that's had a striking impact on pollution in the air, on the streets and in the rivers of our cities, and they're much more pleasant places to be. Now, none of that could be predicted, but what's clear is that even when life returns to normal, whatever that looks like, those changes will never be completely reversed. We will forever live in this post-pandemic world where more people successfully work from homes than ever before, and less business is done by driving or flying to customers' premises, and more work is achieved remotely. Now, the impact on property owners is likely to be massive, dramatic, and ongoing. Offices will need to be structured in a more flexible way, with workspace management a key priority. Buildings will need to be repurposed as demand for office space falls or changes, and the quality of the facility of the lease space will become of vital importance as the competition for rental increases. Plus, many studies suggest that many employees are reluctant to return to work without considerable reassurance from employers that their work environment is safe and fit for purpose. We are way beyond comfort control and indoor air quality. Staff want to know that their workplace is a safe place to be. Microbial air filtration, contactless access, and high-quality hygiene standards are going to be putting a demand on buildings to be places of safety as well as comfort. And then owners will need to rise to that challenge in order to recruit the workplace talent that they will need for the future. Indeed, wellness in the workplace could very easily be a key recruitment motivator for our future workforce. Let's bring this into land here, shall we? So the challenges facing our industry are considerable and they are important. And we can have an impact, especially if we can discern those macro changes taking place in the way that our buildings are managed and operated, the way that they are maintained and the way that they're procured. Understanding what our customers want, keeping sharply focused on carbon, on financial models, cloud debate, workplace wellness, and so much more, is vital to remain relevant and successful. Now listen, we're proud to be standing alongside Netix as they strive to deliver world-class products and exceptional service with Tritium as a key technology partner. We share, Sanjeev, identical visions and values, as I'm sure you know. And I just want to express my hopes and my wishes for the team here, every single success as they embark on the launch of this exciting new program. I look forward to talking to as many of you as possible in the course of the evening. Hope you enjoy the rest of the time together, and thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Paul, for that informative insight there. Up next, we'd like to play you a little introductory video to Netix. The solution, let's take a look at the future.
Modern cities across the world are embracing smart technologies that make life simpler for its residents while mitigating manpower requirements and reducing running costs. Let's consider a typical residential or commercial building. This building is equipped with various functions like chiller units, BTU meters, and more. In the instance of a faulty system, a delay in recognizing errors leads to unnoticed spike in energy consumption. In a city with multiple buildings, the chances of such an error multiplies exponentially. This can lead to increased expenditure for the building owners. Add this to the manpower dispatched and the chaos before identifying the source of the error. Legacy systems in most buildings require dedicated controllers and proprietary protocols to diagnose and rectify errors. This limits the scope of systems from other manufacturers being installed to the grid. Netix is an ideal solution in such a scenario. With its capability to integrate entire portfolio of systems into a single dashboard, buildings can communicate with each other to relay data. Netix functions on an open protocol that enables seamless integration of multiple controllers into its framework, irrespective of manufacturers. This eliminates any confusion in diagnosing and resolving errors. Netix is AI-enabled. A single dashboard interface can work with multiple building systems, benchmarking various controllers and monitoring energy use. For the building owner, this translates into reduced maintenance time and increased savings. Let's look at an example. Consider 2 air conditioning units installed in 2 rooms in the same building. AC unit number 1 consumes 100 watts of power, while AC unit number 2 consumes 130 watts. Netix dashboard can identify this disparity in real time and notify the building owner through an analytics dashboard installed across buildings. Netix IICCC delivers on 3 key aspects: automated energy reports, automated root cause analysis, and intelligent visualization. Netix II-BMS controls 84% of the building's energy consumption and increases energy cost savings up to 28% through predictive maintenance, easy energy management, remote connectivity, and increased component lifecycle. Netix is an intelligent, all-in-one solution that upgrades buildings into connected smart cities, saving time and money. Netix gives you the power to conserve.
Fantastic. And to tell us more about Netix Solutions, I'm going to bring back up to the stage Sanjeev Bhatia, a ceaseless and ambitious serial entrepreneur. Sanjeev is the CEO of Netix Global BV, a vendor-neutral II-BMS automation solutions provider with a strong focus on solutions for sustainable smart buildings, smart cities, and energy efficiency. He's the force behind an impressive portfolio of companies under the umbrella of SB Group, offering cutting-edge products and services across the Middle East, Europe, Asia Pacific, and the United States. Managing Director and Partner at Technoware Middle East and CEO of ODS Global DMCC, Accenture Global BV, and Accenture Films India. I'd like to welcome back up to the stage Sanjeev Bhatia.
Thank you, Emma. Thank you. We all understand premium cars, right? A Mercedes, a BMW, a Jaguar, a Range Rover. As most of you know, most of these cars are bought and kept and owned during the warranty period. Do you know what happens after that? These cars are sold. And do you know why does that happen? Can anybody give me an answer for that? It's a very simple answer. Sorry? Good answer. New model, yes. Anybody else? Very high maintenance cost. Because that's the way things are. You've got to go back to AGMC for your BMW. You've got to go back to Gargash. And it's very expensive to maintain these cars. Do you know where these cars go when you sell them? Sorry? Yeah. Most of these cars are exported very fast. They go to Lebanon, Jordan, Egypt, Africa. They go to these countries because maintaining them is very economical. So is the case with our buildings out here. Our buildings are having expensive system. We are very used to new build, new projects. I've grown up only seeing that, every time new project. But I always thought, what's going to happen to all these existing projects someday? We need to maintain them. We need to service them. And what does happen right now at this point of time? It's always the OEMs or their agents maintaining complicated automation systems. Because the systems were locked, are locked till now. And what are we doing as Netix, as ODS? I will show you. So Netix has a presence globally. We have our headquarters in Finland. Sorry, our R&D in Finland, our headquarters in Netherlands, the regional Middle East office in UAE. We are soon opening an office in Saudi, Qatar, Egypt. We're opening 2 offices in Egypt. We have a very strong setup in India. We've opened an office in Singapore. We opened an office in the US just before the pandemic, but we've postponed our plans for the US after the pandemic. Next year, we are going to focus on Americas. We are also opening an office in Canada. And this is what Netix offers: integrated building automation, smart metering solutions, enterprise-level solutions, IoT, connected building and remote management, and intelligent integrated command control centers. I was giving an example of lock systems. What we have done in the past few years, and as I mentioned about the second innings, we focused on service, something which I always believed that there's a huge potential in the service business, because every building, every system needs good servicing. It was obvious that the major players, all the players were busy towards new projects, new build. And service was always a secondary business, you know. But over the last few years, people started to realize service is a very important business. And especially after the pandemic, it's become even more important, because every penny saved is a penny earned. Now, what we did was, as we came back, we focused on service. We went back and got our approvals. It took us some time to get the mandatory approvals, like the life safety approvals, where we got the A grade, A+, which means we can even service a Burj Khalifa. But then there are these essential services, which includes automation. And we started focusing towards automation, and we did a good job. And the first major breakthrough we had was with Damac. It was the first time a single company comes and takes over 24 towers with 7 different brands. We had unlocked the systems. And this was possible only because of Tritium. There are companies which use Tritium, but we use Tritium to your advantage, because we always believe in doing things right, okay? It's the long term which is more important. And when we took up these 24 towers, 2 of the towers were shut down. The automation was not working. And these had, they had a Schneider system, and they had a Siemens system. And Damac said, oh, we are talking to the OEMs, we're talking to the agents. We made an internal discussion, and we said, we upgrade them free. And they were pleasantly surprised that we could upgrade them free. We unlocked the systems. We put in an unlocked front-end software. And when we put this unlocked front-end software, it was an Android approach, as we call it. Now, no more. You'd have to go to only one single OEM or vendor. You can go to anybody. You can come to us, you can go to anybody, but we've done something good for you. So that's where the journey started, and soon we started talking to Emaar as ODS. And after a lot of due diligence, Emaar gave us all the 18 communities, all the 18 communities across Dubai. And this was a major breakthrough, because we had done something which was never done before. From there on, there has been no stopping. We have done many projects, single building owner, 2 buildings owner, and our service speaks for itself. We've got a lot of repeat contracts. When we realized this, because of the dynamics of our business, we have a Netix, which is a Tritium partner, where we use Tritium to your advantage. We enhance it. We have done things on the top. We have done things around it. For example, there was a data center which came up in India called the SIFI data center. They needed redundancy at a controller level. Our R&D department in Finland developed the redundancy at a controller level. And so we add value to the magic box of Tritium. So when we realized that these are things which have worked very well out here, we decided to launch this program called the Netix Novus Partner Program to repeat what we are doing out here into other regions. So naturally, I reached out to the people I know, and when I was mentioning about Honeywell, the last assignment I was doing with Honeywell Security, I had won a President's Award for signing the biggest contract, which I was told, in Honeywell Security's history with JBK Controls of Qatar for Qatar Petroleum. So I went back to the same people, I started talking to them, and I told them that I've got something which is very big. And after 6 months of discussion, we agreed to join hands. So in Qatar, we are joining hands with JBK. In Saudi, we're joining hands with Electropower. Even before we launched this program, we've already shaken hands with a lot of people. And this has got a very strong response because we are bringing something new to the market. We are bringing something which the market needs, and this is the Netix Novus Partner Program. So we have 4 layers which we come into. The AMCs, and then, as I mentioned, we upgrade the system, we unlock the systems, we do retrofits, renovations. We did a lot of projects with Etisalat. We did a lot of projects with an esteemed bank, a lot of branches of theirs. We did 77 buildings with Etisalat. We are, I will show you some references. Then comes the last part is the energy management platform. So everybody's talking about energy management, but what is energy management? There are so many platforms. So what makes us different? These are the major takeaways from here. We have anomaly detection, enterprise-grade remote BMS, dynamic work order management, performance analysis, fault detection and diagnostics, KPI tracking to ensure sustainability goals, and real-time energy saving reports into absolute currency, into absolute units of either saved or not saved. And alarms are raised as per the hierarchies. So it's just not information coming in, it is intelligent information. There's a lot of analytics. Our people behind this platform have a lot of experience, a lot of practical experience. And we did not compromise. We made sure we bring in the best, because the best is what is always needed. And we did not stop until we made the platform the best. And we already have brought in this platform wherein we are managing Emirates Airlines, staff accommodations, we are managing Messiah Towers, we are managing a lot of projects. Netix Novus Partner Program is an innovative and futuristic solution meant to drive the brownfield revolution with unique open protocol solutions which can integrate multi-vendor subsystems, enable real-time monitoring, conduct preventive maintenance, and create an open protocol ecosystems in buildings in order to ensure utmost adherence to sustainability targets. What is our mission? to develop a connected world free of legacy closed systems, enable system integrators to maintain and manage all brands, decrease operational costs for clients while enhancing quality and reliability, enable facility managers to increase operational efficiency, breathe new life into legacy systems, and transition them up to current standards. We help you become vendor neutral. We cover in-house the three main verticals which you require, qualifying as one-stop solution providers. We have management platforms, we have got DDC controllers, and we do software integration. We have software integration drivers for all major brands. And we integrate both ways. We integrate vertically and horizontally. So we can integrate multiple brands, or we can integrate multiple systems. When we can integrate multiple brands of the same system, and we can integrate multiple different systems with different brands. These are some of our success stories, which I already mentioned. Emaar as ODS, Damac, Mazaya was a very unique case where there was an old Lonix system and lawn-based, and we were maintaining that, and it was a non-comprehensive maintenance contract, wherein the system became obsolete. The system was obsolete from the manufacturer, and there were a lot of problems. And we went back to Mazaya and said that we need to add a few controllers. And they said, we have a policy, we have a system, we have to actually raise a tender. And they raised a tender, and it was obvious because no other manufacturer can go and do anything about Lonix. And everybody bid in for a complete refurbishment or a retrofit, and the value was around 1.8 to 2 million dirhams by everybody who ever bid in for the project. We did the job for 500,000 dirhams. Why? Simply because we have an adaptive strategy. We don't go for disruption. We made use of what is there. We added, just simply unlocking the system and bringing our front-end software, Nigra, powered by Nigra, and only replaced that which was not working and made the system work. The client is pleasantly happy. I think, is he here? No, it's not here. Okay. So this has been a very important project for us, and we are now doing, we brought in we won a lot of faith, confidence with our customer, and now we are managing all these towers, and it's under the same owners association, right? So we're doing a lot of projects for them now. So these are our success stories. Tadawul Tower is the tallest stock market in Saudi Arabia. It's $1 million project for us. Ascendus is a 50,000 points project, an IT park, Ascendus Singapore, and an IT park which we are currently just ongoing in Pune, India. This is Google in India. Amazon, we're doing a lot of Amazon projects in India as well as Saudi at the moment. The Hewlett Packard 50,000 points project, again, we have got a second phase coming up very soon. The Apple headquarters in India. And these are some of our clients. And these are some of our success stories all across the globe. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much to Sanjeev Bhatia once again, and that's a little teaser into the Netix Novus for you. And up next, we'd like to play you a couple of testimonials from the Netix Novus Platinum partners. First up, from Jihad Abu Shamia. He is the CEO of Electro Power Systems in KSA.
Good evening and happy to be part of this amazing event. I am Jihad Abu Shamia, the CEO of Electro Power Systems. I am personally based in Jeddah with offices covering the major cities of Saudi Arabia, elsewhere in the Gulf and some part of the Arab world. In the year 2000, Electro Power Systems was established as systems integrator and supplier, working with reputable international firms. Our partnership with Sanjeev Bhatia goes back to the year 2012. We joined forces to address the need for professional central battery systems with Technoware products. We quickly and successfully completed several and prestigious jobs and projects. Just to name a few, King Abdullah Financial District, Princess Noura University, both in Riyadh, the railway project in Mecca, and the few campuses of King Saud University National Guards. In line with the Saudi Vision 2030, the Saudi economy is now more diversified. The Saudi government unblocked opportunities for growth and investment, opened the Saudi market to the world, and launched platforms to basically facilitate investments. With the speed of change in Saudi Arabia, many international firms rushed to invest and start to get established in this rapidly growing market, of course. This opportunity has motivated us to join forces with Netix as a platinum partner in Saudi Arabia. We are taking advantage of the multiple success stories and the cutting-edge innovations in basically providing building solutions using plug-and-play approach. I strongly believe this is the right time for such projects and solutions to both existing buildings and greenfield projects. Netix Novus solutions are seamlessly integrating existing systems, reducing costs, increasing efficiency, and enhancing the digital parity between the new and the old. Our goal is to implement these solutions and strategies in the kingdom and drive transformation through Netix Novus. Thank you and enjoy your event.
Thank you so much to Jihad for sending that through to us. And next we're going to hear from Jagdish Rajan. He's the CEO at Garnet Technologies, part of JBK in Qatar.
A couple of decades ago, who would have thought we need not walk to the street corner to hail a cab? Who would have thought we need not have to drive miles or wait for reservations at our favorite restaurant? Who would have thought we need not go to the supermarket to shop for our day-to-day groceries? Yet, the Amazons, the Talabats, and the Ubers changed our perception and age-old practices of driving, dining, and shopping. In line with what we have seen, here comes yet another revolution that is going to change the way we monitor, control, and manage our automation infrastructure. The days of legacy systems, closed protocol, and market monopoly are long gone. Open protocol solutions, vendor-neutral building managed systems, and digitalizations are the norm. We must act towards integration and automation. So when we hear about a revolutionary Android approach to building operations and management, we naturally gravitated towards it. But what made us sign up as a platinum partner is actually seeing the quantifiable efforts and value unlocked through the unified efforts of Netix and ODS Global. We looked at projects of these clients like Damac and Mazaya, where the cost savings went up to 75%, which is a pretty staggering percentage for the client, and realized these are real great wins. These successes have led to the creation of the Netix Novus. We believe that this partner program complements the current accelerated digital transformation across the real estate value chain. We are particularly impressed by its potential to increase efficiencies, productivities, savings, and sustainable outcomes. and in relatively old buildings that were beginning to fall behind the emerging new standards. Considering it would be extremely expensive to replace all the pre-existing hardware, the fact that we can achieve high efficiency and optimal performances using cost-effective retrofits is very encouraging. We are very glad that we can offer this unique value to our customers soon. Probably a decade from now, we would be sitting back and thinking, who would have thought that closed protocol legacy systems would no more be closed? This is Rajan Jagdish of the Garnet JBK Group, and I'm very happy to partner with NetX Global and to be a part of the revolution. I hope you do so.
Thank you very much, Tim, for sending that through as well. I'd like to welcome up some more speakers to the stage. I'm going to introduce ODS Global to you next. An engineering, integration and maintenance service provider, ODS Global delivers integrated buildings which are technologically superior, sustainable, more energy efficient, and which deliver an even better return on investment. And next speaker is leading the service division at ODS Global, and he's been with the group for the last decade. Please welcome up Shashank Sherubala, Head of Service for ODS Global.
Thank you, Emma. Good evening, everyone. I hope you all are having a wonderful evening. So as Mr. Sanjeev mentioned, so ODS is the oldest member of the SB Group. So we have been in the industry since 2004. So over the past 15 plus years, we have been involved in a lot of landmark projects, both in the greenfield as well as the brownfield. But I would say over the last 4 to 5 years, we have been particularly very active in the third-party services industry, what we generally call the brownfield. So this is when we identified a gap in the market. We realized that there are a lot of customers, be it your end clients, developers, owners associations, facility management companies, who are managing a lot of buildings which are now running into 10, 12, 15 years old. And most of these buildings, when it comes to building management or building automation systems, are all running legacy closed systems. If they want to do a retrofit, if they want to do an upgrade, a repair, or for that matter, or if they want to even add features to bring it on par with the other BMS systems in the market, they were not able to manage it within the fixed budgets that they have and the financial constraints that they had. And moreover, in 2018, with the new directive coming from RERA to reduce the annual service charges year on year, this gap further widened. So this is where we identified an opportunity, and by being partners with NetX Global and by being the first NetX Novus Platinum member, we were able to leverage on the open platform and the open protocol that NetX provided. So now we were able to enter these buildings, and we were able to bring them on par with the current market conditions or the feature levels, while keeping in mind the budgetary constraints of the client. So this greatly opened up the space, and now the client can open the system to any vendor as well. We always believed in a world free of closed systems, and by being a NetX Novus Platinum member, we were able to achieve that dream. Next is a short video I would like to play of some of the major wins that we have had over the past few years. Now, furthering this vision or this agenda that we had of having a world free of these legacy closed systems, we come to the second announcement for the evening. So I would like to announce that we are ODS. We are tying up with Johnson Controls and their state-of-the-art BMS line, which is EasyIO. So EasyIO is a European BMS provider and manufacturer, and they believe in the similar ideologies like us. So they have got controllers which are based on an open platform. They have got controllers which do not have any proprietary programming tools, and they follow an open licensing model. So to speak more about the association and to speak about EasyIO, I would like to call on stage Mr. Leo. He's the regional director for Johnson Controls in the Middle East. Mr. Leo.
So, thanks. Good evening. Good evening to everyone in this room and also all the people who are online. And thanks, Sanjeev and the entire team for giving Johnson Controls this opportunity to share a few thoughts. So a little bit about myself. I'm the regional director with Johnson Controls. I've been with Johnson for the last 24 years, all in the BMS industry. So I like to share, I think there's been a lot of technology. Paul, I think there was a lot of technical terms there. I don't think I have that vocabulary, but I'll try my best. All right, so a little bit about, I come from India, the tiniest state of India called Goa. So I don't know how many people are there in this room. I know I'm the only one standing between you and the mango juice and dinner, okay? So I'll try to make it quick. Okay, so let's go to the next slide. Okay, a little bit about Johnson. It's a very old company. People who live, when I meet some of the colleagues in Europe or in the US, I ask them how many years you're working. Like my boss he sits in the US and he's 42 years in the company, right? So I just tell him, okay, you're 42, I'm 24. It's just the reverse. So here, if you look at it, there's a customer promise and our values. The last part is future focused, which is very, very important. The first time when I met Sanjeev a year back, and when you look here, there is Netix Controls, there's Tridium. Tridium is owned by Honeywell. And then what are we doing here, right? So when we first spoke, I was like, I don't think we can agree on a partnership. And he said, Leo, think differently. Let's see what we can do together. So I'd like to share a few things, what we discussed, and some of my thoughts from the last 24 years in the industry. In this room, I'm sure there are a lot of, thank you. There are a lot of consultants, there are a lot of MEV contractors, there are end users, and all of us have a lot of responsibility towards all the new buildings as well as the old buildings coming up in this country. A little bit about our founder. This is Sir Warren Johnson. He's the guy who invented the automatic temperature control thermostat and is patented by him. That's a copy of the patent. So that's what we call artificial intelligence at the very early stage. This here, I don't know, maybe you all have seen this. This is a snapshot I've taken from the World Economic Forum. This is something they set together, they put a team together in 2020 after initially we were contractors, consultants, end users, and the occupants. Now there's a new entrant called COVID. Right? Because of COVID, there's a lot of things changing. This team sat together and said, we need to define a new framework for the future of real estate. And they said, the top 4 are the 4 key pillars which have to be taken into consideration, and the bottom are the 5 enablers which we have to take into consideration when we are designing new buildings. Right? And the most important one there is the digitization and innovation. I'd like to share with you a little bit. A week back, I met a young gentleman. He's just out of college, Harriet Watt, and he wanted an internship with Johnson. So when I was talking to him, I asked him, I said, why do you want to join Johnson and what are you doing? And he said, I just got an offer from Deloitte. And Deloitte is big four, right, guys? A student at 20 years getting an offer from Deloitte, he will not say no. I said, okay, why did you not take it? He's saying, sir, I'm an engineer. I want to make a difference, and I want to study how buildings are working, and I want to make some change. Right? I'm working with a small startup company, and we want to make a difference to the buildings in Dubai. I said, okay, this looks like an interesting conversation. Let's talk. And his name is Mohammed. Please, and this is a real name. He's joining me to my team on Sunday, the coming week. And I'll just hold on to this name right now. Okay? Now let's move a little bit forward. Okay? Let's look at our ancestors. Just think about them. When they first wanted to maybe make a boat, what did they do? Let's say they threw a wooden plank into the sea. It floated. And then they threw an iron piece into the sea. Iron sank, wood floated, right? So they'd say, wow, let's make a boat of wood, right? But today when you look at the boats, guys, are they made of wood? No, they're not made of wood. They're made of iron. They're made of steel. What happened? Somebody discovered a law of flotation. What is the law of flotation? The law of flotation says, as long as the weight of the floating body is equal to the weight of the displaced water, it will float. Okay? Now what happened? Coming back to this point of innovation, somebody sat down and studied and discovered a law of flotation. Was it new? No. It was existing. But somebody just spent some time and found that there is a different way to do things. Okay? Now coming back to this digitization and innovation, it's a very, very key to our buildings. I think everyone sitting in this room, including me, I think we have a very, very key responsibility to look at buildings to see, are we making them just the way we are making them, or are we making them ready for the future? Okay? What this means is, and I'm going to be very honest, I've spent a lot of time on sites. Sometimes the specs which we come out are the same specs which have been there for the last 25 years, right? So what we need to all decide here is, are we trying to put in controllers and systems in the buildings which are old, or are we putting in systems in these buildings for people like Mohammed, who I just spoke about, wants to come and program them and make a difference so they can be innovative? Okay? I think Natik spoke about it. I think Paul spoke about it. There has to be a different way where we look at buildings if we are going to look at this enabler, digitization and innovation. We have to start looking at buildings to see what is it that we can do with buildings. When I started my first project was Emirates Towers. And at that time, there were 22 integrations, 22 different systems trying to talk to each other. And it was like, wow. Those days are gone. Now it's like, I think you saw at Natix, buildings need to talk to each other, right? After talking to each other, what do they need to do? We need to take that data and start harvesting it. We need to do something with it, right? And that's where I think we need to start making those decisions. Like, I'll tell you an example. A few days back, I was called to a site, and they said, Leo, your system does not support SCADA. I said, it does not support SCADA. Do you need SCADA in your building? No, I don't need SCADA in my building. But the spec calls for SCADA, so you have to supply SCADA. I said, we can supply SCADA, but do you really need it? Now look at this here. If you look at it, you need to make the system affordable, right? Now we cannot keep on putting stuff into a building which is not needed and still make it affordable. So we have to make that choice. How do you look at these 4 pillars here? How do you make it sustainable? How do you make it affordable? And then at the same time, how do you work through this? Now look at this. There is, at the enabler side, there is something called talent and knowledge. Right? Are we using buildings? Are we programming buildings? Are we selecting systems in the building looking at the future? Or are we doing the same old thing? Because I know the MEP cycle, guys, right? We are all part of the same cycle. We take the job, we need to finish it. That's their job. The consultants, there is a spec. The end user has a budget. But then each one of us has to start thinking how we are going to make this building better, innovative for the future. Okay? So with this, I will not go too much into detail about technology. I think we have seen a lot here. We are joining hands with ODS Global here. Our mantra for it is we're going to stand with ODS side by side, which you see here, right, to deliver what is required for the customer, right? And our first decision when me and Sanjeev spoke was, Leo, let's collaborate together. Let's see what. Further here, this is a little snapshot of the various controllers. Now, this is where I spoke about that guy called Mohammed. He wants to have all these protocols right here available in a box. Like what they can do, they want to take technology and start doing things differently. And at this moment, I'd like to take my Steve Jobs moment. So this is the smallest controller which we have. This is the one which you're seeing here, right on top, the EasyIO FT. It's called the tiny controller, right? This is even 3D printed. Very, very powerful. It's got 2 universal inputs and a lot of stuff which can be done, right? So we need to look at it that this kind of things have to be used in systems or in buildings so that we can make that easier for people like Mohammed to start making those changes, making those systems. This particular device can be programmed directly from your mobile. You don't need a PC, you don't need anything. You can take your Android or Apple PC or Apple phone and start programming this and use it in your own home. Okay, we have a few of this with my team here. We can share them. So where is the market heading? I think we have spoken about this a lot. Okay, this is where we see the market is heading. I remember the days, many years back, when the CCTV world was analog. And there was IP cameras coming, and everybody was like, oh, IP cameras is not going to survive. It's just a fad, it's not going. Today, analog cameras are gone, right? So if you look at it 5 years from now, the BMS world is already changing, and it's going to change very rapidly, right? You'll see companies talking digitization, right? There's almost every company in the world embracing it because there's no choice. Today it's COVID-19. In 2 years' time or 1 year, half year down the line, we do not know what else is coming, right? So are we putting in systems in there when that pandemic or whatever we call it comes in, we have systems in place which can be programmed to handle it, or do we need to start running and say, hey guys, let's upgrade the whole system because we did not think 4 years, 5 years down the line. Okay. I'll not go into each one of them. Okay, these are a few of our value proposition from the EasyIO. EasyIO is actually, it's also built on a platform called Sedona. It's also an OEM for Tritium. Okay, it's also head-end independent. Like you can put any software on top. I think as Shashank spoke, right? It is open, it can connect, and you can decide what you want to do with it. This is a little bit of the topology. I will not go too much into details. I know I'm running against time. I'd like to leave with this message on the screen. Like we need to start thinking beyond. We need to start thinking beyond what we are putting right now. We have to get away from, okay, this is the way it is done. This is how it was always done. The rules have changed, guys, because if there is something coming, we do not know what that is. We need to be ready, right? So you got to imagine the possibilities and make them real, right? So if you look at it, that person which I spoke about, the guy who found, if he had not found what the law of flotation, we would have still been using wooden boats, right? Think about the law of friction. If somebody had not spent time on it, we wouldn't be talking today that we can make a trip from Dubai to Abu Dhabi in 12 minutes. It's coming, right? So as we are speaking about 12 minutes from here to Dubai to Abu Dhabi, we don't know what else can be done, right? So we need to start thinking innovative. We need to start thinking, how can we make buildings different? And that responsibility lies with each one of us in this room, guys. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Leo, for that insightful little discussion there. Great stuff. And up next, our next speaker is going to talk to you about technoware. And with almost 50 years of experience, Technoware is one of the leading emergency lighting manufacturers and significant technological innovators of emergency lighting systems for buildings and vehicle lighting. I'd like to bring out to the stage Mohammed Sufyan. He's the General Manager of Technoware Middle East, specializing in life safety, security, and automation solutions.
Thank you, Emma. Wow, that's a lot of insight. I hope you all are finding the session so far insightful and very engaging. Thank you all for your presence in person and online. So I'm here to give you some insight into Technoware. So Technoware is an emergency lighting manufacturer from Finland. Right. So Technoware is an emergency lighting manufacturer based out of Finland. We are in our 49th year of manufacturing, and we are a AAA credit-rated company with turnover about over 70 million euros now. It's 100. Thank you, Sanjeev. Well, it's 100. We employ 600 personnel across 30 countries, and our manufacturing facilities and headquarters are in Finland. So there's a particular reason here that we put a picture of the factory this year. So with the latest expansion, our emergency lighting factory is the largest emergency lighting factory in the world with 17,800 square meters of manufacturing floor. Technoware has its presence in Sweden, Russia, India, Brazil, Middle East, and USA. The headquarters in Middle East takes care, which is in Dubai, takes care of the Middle East, Africa business and the APAC. So, in principle, we have two business verticals, the vehicle lighting and the emergency lighting. So, let me take you through the emergency lighting business. Our product basket represents and offers central control panels, emergency and exit lights, the monitoring softwares, cloud-based monitoring softwares, I should be saying now, purpose-made luminaires, which we'll be speaking about it further, wireless monitoring for the emergency exit lights. We have patented supercapacitor technology for emergency and exit lights, so we're all moving on to lead, so why talk batteries only? Why not capacitors? And the standalone emergency and exit lights. Why choose us? You know, this is a very, very important question we need to answer here. When we are going into the technology-driven and cloud-based, why not bring that to life safety? So our softwares, which are used for central monitoring, are SSL certified, and these are military-grade SSL certified softwares. So unable to hack. So moving forward, all our products are third-party laboratory certified. It is the SGS. We are approved in the regulatory authorities in all the Middle East. We are code compliant, so life safety and code compliance, you know, the NFPA 101s and the BS 5266, they go hand in hand. So you have to have products which are code compliant and designs. Especially we are in a country where life safety is given most priority. Okay, so moving forward, we are an AC-DC central battery system. So that is the latest in its voltage technology itself. And to mention a very unique feature of Technoware, we have the maximum address capacity per circuit. So that we boast of being the only emergency lighting manufacturer having. So which actually adds, you know, a lot of value in optimization by reducing the cables, reducing the number of panels, reducing the number of lights. Moving forward, so we're approved for many years in the civil defense authorities of UAE, Bahrain, KSA, Oman, and Kuwait. We've done multiple projects there. Giving you an insight of our most recent and some benchmark projects, we'll go segment-wise. let me speak about hospitality first, which is going to be extremely popular in the next 1.5 months here. Okay, for the next 6 months, we all know why. So hospitality sector, the Bulgari Hotel, which is the only Bulgari in the entire Middle East. Haptur City, which is the largest hotel development in the entire Dubai, with 1,500 plus rooms, which hosts the Haptur Palace, Hilton and the V Hotel, the Anantara in the Palm Sofitel. In the aviation sector, which is something which I'm very interested to speak about, because these are one of the most complex projects that one can see or one can execute. So Muscat International Airport was a great feather in our hat with 15,000 luminaires and 116 control panels. And this is only central battery system that I'm talking to you, gentlemen and ladies. So moving forward, we have executed terminal here in Dubai, the Maktoum Airport in Jebel Ali, Senegal Airport, the Helsinki Airport, and there are many more airports within the list, so we wanted to name a few here. In the commercial sector, we are affiliated with many popular brands which are across the globe. IKEA, Vox Cinemas, Majd Al Futtaim, Real Cinemas. In infrastructure, especially metros, we've successfully completed 29 plus country metros. Just to name a few, the prestigious Dubai Metro is done by Technoware, the Qatar Metro, Etihad Rail. Some of the innovative building references, I have to mention the LEED Platinum Solar Innovation Center here in Dubai is done by Technoware. The RTA Command Control Center where they're managing the entire traffic network of Dubai. The Marina 101, which is going to be launched this year. The tallest tower in Turkey, King Abdullah Financial District in Saudi Arabia. Kayan Tower here in Marina. La Mer, we're talking about Maktoum Airport, we're talking about the World Trade Center, Qatar, the W Hotel in Palm Jumeirah. So, introducing the star of the event, the Technoware 7 Series Cloud-enabled control panel. Now, I have to say, this control panel has revolutionized the emergency lighting technology because it brings in data locally and makes it global. So we use the word global because now you have global access to data from a building, which is, of course, I want to remind you, SSL certified. So basically, it makes this control panel monitorable from anywhere in the world. So imagine a client is owning multiple facilities, say 27 hotels across different countries. So every control panel within that facility of his can be monitored by, let's say, his head office in Seattle. All right. Let me mention a couple of more features that add value on ground in field. So this control panel houses the circuit cards which are field programmable. So even if a load changes, even if there is an architectural change and the light quantity or the load changes, so this panel can accommodate it without the change of circuit cards. Now that's a pretty unique feature. Okay, moving forward, it comes with an inbuilt 7-inch touchscreen, which has many different views. So now when we talk about touchscreens, we need to talk about what it offers. Now, user ease, access to information, single point. Now, these are the words that you look for when you talk about a touchscreen mounted on a control panel. So this control panel has the home page where you get the complete system information in one look. If you want to go luminaire specific, if you want to go circuit specific, you want to do the settings page, you want to see the error notification page, if you want to see a luminaire overview, if you want to have automatic tests scheduled, now these all can be done from the same screen. Now this is something I'm talking about in the panel itself. So you don't need to go to a PC to program the panel or see something or do a test or schedule a test. Of course, you have the access to this panel from a remote location where you can run the same thing. Now, when we are talking about seamless integration, when we are talking about buildings speaking to each other, I have to announce Technoware is the first emergency lighting brand that can mention seamless and absolute integration to all BMS brands. We are doing this through our own Netix Neo controller. So, be it a panel, I just mentioned to you about multiple panels in multiple locations, outward information to and from in between buildings, all these are possible seamlessly now. To add to this, we have the My Cloud feature, which it enables the remote monitoring of Technoware control panels anywhere in the world. So let's say, like, I can give you an example of our multiple offices which are there in Malaysia, Finland, Poland. So we have our own systems monitored from our headquarters in Finland through the Technoware My Cloud. Now we're partnered with AWS, and this is also SSL certified. So there is absolute security. Right, I would want to, it was all about Technoware, so I want to actually play a short video that will bring up our mood. Okay, so here it goes.
Take my hand, darling. Look how we come so far. I hope you see it. Now that I'm on bended knee, 'cause I've seen it time and time again. It all goes cold in the end, but we ain't like all the rest of them. No, baby, you and me, yeah. When the sun gonna pass and shadows cast our shapes across all history, I'll be a lucky man with you standing beside me.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's it from me. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much to Sufyan for that little presentation, and what a cheery video to end the night on. I like that. Thank you so much to all our speakers this evening. It's been wonderfully insightful and informative. So thank you to all of you who came up and spoke this evening. Thank you to those of us for joining us live online. I hope you enjoyed all the presentations, and we will be saying bye-bye to you guys joining us online now.